Hello and welcome to Morning Brew on Politics Social. I am Graham Hughes. It is Friday the 13th of June 2025. Hello to everyone in the chat. First of all, we've got Pete's Music, we've got Simon M, we've got Blah Blah, CW, we've got Gallifrey and Ren, Diz is in there as well, we've got L, we've got Veg Pie, Paula Thomas, Billy Kershaw, we've got Liebchen, we've got Gillian Hope, we've got MH Carer as well. If you'd like to join our friends in the chat, all you need to do is hit the not the super chat button, hit the subscribe button. Well, you can join. You can hit the super chat button if you like, but you can only super chat if you've subscribed. So before we go on, the petition, the not in our name petition that can only be signed by cisgender women, is currently on 33,500 signatures. I'm just going to put the link in the chat. There it is. So if you could pass that on to people that you know who might be up for signing it, that would be a really cool thing to do. So we're going to be talking about Israel again and Iran. Yay! Honestly, I went to sleep at like 1:15 this morning. Like I was in bed, I was on my phone, checking the news because I was waiting to find out what was happening with this court case that was going to stop the dickheads in America putting the troops in to California. And so I was waiting for that, and nothing was coming up. So I thought, sod it, I'm knackered. It's 1:15 in the morning. I'm going to go to sleep. And literally, it must have been 1 minute into my sleep that the news came through that explosions had been heard in northeast Tehran. So you woke up to fireballs in the sky again for the second day running for different reasons. You're not hallucinating. You're just living in the bad place in 2025. But look, I don't want to do the whole not Navarre Media, what are they called? Midas Touch Network, David Pacman nonsense going, it's gonna be the end of everything. I don't think it is. But we can really get into this. So what's happened is Israel has launched its most audacious military operation against Iran in decades, possibly in history. They're calling it Operation Rising Lion. Just a twatty name for something. It's just marketing, isn't it? Rising Lion. Are you okay? But like Iran is burning, and also it's retaliating. Benjamin Netanyahu has said Iran represents an existential threat to Israel, which is somewhat ironic because I think that Benjamin Netanyahu represents an existential threat to Israel. But there you go. And Ali Khamenei has promised a bitter fate for Israel in return. And 100 drones were shot down over Israel last night. And Donald Trump has said that he knew in advance, but he didn't help, which is useful. Once again, Trump has found that managing international diplomacy is a lot more difficult than, I don't know, commentating on a WrestleMania match, which is all he's really good for at the end of the day. Blah blah CW, thank you very much. Can you post a link to the Equalities and Human Rights Commission consultation, please? Yes, I'll do that. Thank you very much for the super chat. I should have a quick link to this, shouldn't I? Hang on. Human Rights Guidance Equality Act, right? I've got it in my history, I hope. I've got to write in consultation. There we go. Come on, you bastards. Opens a consultation. This is a story about it. Doing the consultation. Okay, so services equality opens contest. Yeah, okay. So this is what blah blah CW has asked for. This is a link to the EHRC website, and from there you should be able to find your way to the consultation, which is asking people what they think, and hopefully we can have thousands of people thinking that Baroness Kirshner is Kershner Faulkner is a gobshite who's a complete turf and shouldn't be in charge of equalities when she doesn't believe in equality. It's a bit daft. It's a bit like being in charge of ice cream when you don't believe in ice cream, or telling people you got chapters all over the globe when you think we live on a flat Earth. I don't know. It's one of those things that kind of disgusts me on many levels. That you can have someone in that position, but privately educated, of course, through the private school, of course. I mean, how would she get to that position and be that incompetent and that useless at a job if she didn't go to private school? You tell me. The rest of us have to make it by on our merit and dumb luck, whereas those people in the bloody upper echelons, the posh private school mafia, they do shit. They just turn up and they're giving everything, giving the best jobs, giving all the money, giving all the resources, giving all the housing stock, just giving everything, giving all the power. There you go. Oh, you sound posh. You went to a posh school. Oh, there you go. Have a massive platform to pontificate and spread hate, and then wonder why people are fucking pissed off and confused. So, Starmer's called for a de-escalation, but we will see. We will see. So, about 1:15 in the morning, explosions were reported over Tehran. 1:30 our time. The Israeli defense minister, whose name is Israel Katz, which is problematic when you're doing an article about Israel saying something about Israel, because he's speaking on behalf of Israel, but his name is Israel, which isn't very helpful. It declared a state of emergency, and the entire country was told to expect missiles. They fired out the big alarm bells all over Israel. The sirens, I should say. I don't think they use bells anymore, Graham. And IDF have confirmed strikes on military and nuclear targets across Iran, which is, bit worrisome. We freak out quite rightly when Russia is attacking nuclear facilities in Ukraine. I mean, in Zaporizhia, like, obviously we freaked out when they were pissing around Chernobyl and digging up the fucking radioactive ground there. And the fact that Israel's gone after these targets. Apparently there's been a report from the International Atomic Agency saying that there isn't an uptick in radioactive activity, which is, there's been a strike, or numerous strikes, on Natanz, which is Iran's key enrichment site. So to make nuclear weapons, you need to enrich uranium. You take uranium gas and put it in a centrifuge or something. I don't know how it works. But essentially, these are places where they're trying to make enough nuclear material for a nuclear bomb. Apparently, or so they say. And by 4:43 this morning, we had the first verified photographs of burning residential towers in Iran. And that about 6:19 this morning, Iran launched about 100 drones at Israel, none of which hit their target. And Iran's skies are now closed. Israel's skies are closed. US diplomats are silent. Trump was in a picnic. He was having a picnic at the White House, and he could have made a statement, but he didn't. He didn't say anything about it because, yeah. So this wasn't just a hit on the atomic enrichment facilities, nuclear enrichment of facilities across Iran. It was also a targeted assassination on a number of members of the Iranian leadership of the country. So Hussein Salami, he was the commander-in-chief of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. He's been reportedly killed. Mohammad Baghri, the chief of staff of the Iranian armed forces, also reportedly killed. Feyradun Abbasi, who was the former head of Iran's atomic Energy Organization. He's also reportedly killed. Mohammed Mahdi Tehranchi. He's a nuclear scientist and he's a university president as well. He's also been killed. And Ali Shamkhani, who is a senior advisor to Khamenei, he's also been reportedly seriously injured. Multiple military sites were also struck, including Piransha and Kermanshah as well. Central Tehran districts of Vakna and Femenia and Kuno have also been struck. So this is a huge targeted attack by Israel. They clearly got people on the ground who are telling them where these generals, where these atomic scientists are, in order for Israel to do these attacks. Israel has a very, very well-funded spy surveillance system network called Mossad. They also have a very, very well-funded army. They are a nuclear power in their own right. And this, I mean, it is horrible what's happened. It's absolutely horrible. But something that I'd like to point out as well is that Netanyahu has just basically gone behind Trump's back. He's gone, no, I'm not waiting until Sunday. So they were supposed to have nuclear talks in Oman, in Muscat, between the Iranians and the Americans. That was supposed to happen this Sunday. And Israel went, oh, we're not waiting. And Israel saw that they had this window of opportunity. Iran's air defenses are still degraded from October's strike. Yesterday, the International Atomic Agency declared Iran in breach of its nuclear obligations. Netanyahu is also desperate for a political win. There were still nearly 50 hostages that have not been returned in any way, shape, or form back to Israel from Gaza. That he's becoming more and more unpopular because his policy of destroying everything in Gaza is not getting those hostages back, and there is a lot of heat coming towards him from other political figures in Israel. And don't forget, when Netanyahu is no longer prime minister, he goes to jail. It's as simple as that. He's on trial at the moment for corruption, which he fucking did. Hope I don't, mess up I hope we don't mess up the trial by saying that. Netanyahu believes Iran now has enriched uranium for 9 bombs, and this has given them the IAEA report yesterday. It gave them the cover that they wanted to be able to go and do this. So this has obviously been something that's planned for a long time. It's not an ad hoc attack. They've had these people in their sites for ages, months, maybe years, and this was their opportunity to take them out. Iran's retaliation is underway. More missiles are likely in coming days. Proxy groups like Hezbollah and Khalid Hezbollah could join the fray. Khamenei says that this is a bitter, painful fate awaits Israel. Like I say, Israeli airspace has been locked down. People are hiding in bunkers. Hospitals are clearing out space. Okay, so let's talk about the regional fallout. How bad could this get? Well, there is obviously the danger of a wider war. Pro-Iranian militias may target US forces. Lebanon may see what's left of Hezbollah escalate. Syria, Yemen, Gaza might light up again. Syria less likely now, I think, but I don't know. I really don't know. Oil prices up 10%. And yet we've got people from the Refuck Party telling us that we should really rely on foreign oil and oil that we drill ourselves from the North Sea, but we don't actually get a discount. We have to pay the international going rate for it. Okay, so oil has just gone up by 10%. So explain that one to me. Australia, the UN, and the UK have called for restraint, but the fuse has already been lit. Looking at the historical details here, there's rumour that one Middle Eastern power was notified of this happening before it happened. And I think you would be quite naive if you thought it was anything other than Saudi Arabia. Now, I know that might sound a bit unfair, but Saudi Arabia and Iran and its precursors have been locked in a Cold War for centuries, for as long as anyone can remember. These two regional powerhouses, these vast countries, have absolutely hated each other's guts. And so in the 80s, the Saudis propped up Iraq in the Iran-Iraq war, which is why when Saddam Hussein then went and invaded Kuwait, the Saudis were so pissed with him because they were like, how dare you? You betrayed us. We've been propping you up in this war against our mortal enemies, Iran. Why are they mortal enemies? Well, because the branch of Islam practiced in Saudi Arabia is majority Sunni, and the branch of Islam practiced in Iran is majority Shia or Shiite. See it as the schism between Catholics and Protestants, or any kind of religion around the world that has two offshoots of the same religion that read the same holy book but derive different connotations from it. There are notes that were written by the people who took Islam to the next stage after the Prophet Muhammad died, and they whoever wrote those books depends on and the people that you listen to on the basis of those texts are it's either, I think it's his wife. I think one of the branches is Muhammad's wife, and the other one was Muhammad's uncle. Someone can look that up for me. Someone who knows more about it and is not fucking half asleep, because they were up till 1:15 waiting for news last night, and then had to wake up this morning going, oh my God, and digest a lot of stuff. So Iran has been seen as a pariah in the Middle East for many, many years now, and not least by other members of the Middle East, other countries in the Middle East, especially those under the Saudi Arabian sphere of influence. So they call it the Shia Crescent, don't they? Because you've got Iran, it's majority Shia. You've got the Kurds in Kurdistan in northern Iraq. You've got parts of Syria, the northern Syria, which is quite Shia. And then you've got going into Lebanon, where you've got Hezbollah, which is a Shia paramilitary group, which is funded by Iran. Iran also funds the Houthis in Yemen, which is a Shia group within Yemen, and it also funds Hamas in Gaza. So when we talk about expanding regional conflict, I can't see it for a number of reasons. First of all, Israel took out so many of the command structure of the Hezbollah with their audacious page of attack last year. What was it the year before now? Jesus, I'm losing track. Syria, al-Assad's, it's confusing. Bashir al-Assad's government has fallen, and the people who are now in charge of Syria don't look like they are in any kind of mood for starting another regional conflict with anybody else. Iraq is not really in a place to get involved in any of this shit, and probably wouldn't anyway, because there is still bad blood there between the Iraqis and the Iranians, stemming from the war in the 1980s, in which over 1 million people were killed, in which we saw gas and trench warfare brought back for the first time since the First World War in Europe, and there's still a lot of bad blood. So I can't see anyone rushing necessarily to Iran's defense. Maybe the Houthis in Yemen might carry out more attacks on ships passing through the Red Sea into the Indian Ocean, past their manor, past their ranch. But apart from that, Gaza is on its knees. I can't see Hamas really having the the power to do anything at the moment about this. They can barely defend themselves. Netanyahu and his government have seen an opportunity to strike Israel, to strike Iran when Iran doesn't really have the capability to strike back in any kind of meaningful way. I don't feel, and they've taken it. Marco Rubio, he said that the US took all the necessary steps to protect their forces in America. Their American forces in the Middle East. So they had the heads up about it. They knew it was going to happen, but they didn't release a statement. And clearly, I think most importantly here, Trump didn't tell Netanyahu no. Or if he did tell Netanyahu, no, don't do it, wait till we've had this meeting on Sunday, he didn't actually, Netanyahu didn't do what he was told to do. The International Atomic Agency has confirmed that the radiation at the Natanz site is stable for now within the nuclear enrichment site. So that's some, I can't even call it good news. Something, the situation could be worse. Is that a good way of putting it? I don't know. Thank you very much to Paula Thomas for the £5 super chat. I wrote a super chat explaining how centrifuges work. YouTube won't let me send it, so I have to put it into general chat. Okay. Thank you very much for the super chat. I can't see it. I'll have to look in the live chat. Maybe it didn't come up in the top chat, Paula, but I will look for it. Paula, let's check out all your messages by typing the word Paula in. Can't find it. Okay, so I'm guessing you're going to do that in a bit. So let me know when you do it. I'll try. If you do an @ Politics Social, I get a little highlight. So I'll be more likely to see that because it's highlighted on Politics Social. Alistair, thank you very much. If you want some chuckles, join Blase Friday Frolics at 5 p.m. today. Here's the link. Thank you very much. That's the link to Darren's channel here on YouTube. And if you want to check that out at 5 o'clock. And then after that, you've got Aid Thompson at 7:30 tonight, and then you got Maximilian at 8:30, and then you got us, the Politics Social, at 9:30. Anyway, so what happens next? Iran retaliates with drones and missiles. Israel will intercept most of them. Skirmish will end in a few days' time. That's the hope. But there is a risk there of misfire or major civilian casualty that could change everything. There is a worry about all-out war spreading across the Middle East, but I can't see it, right? And I hope I'm not wrong about this, but I can't see, for the reasons I've just said, I can't see Iran having the capability to launch an all-out war against Israel. But one of the things that will happen, no matter what, is the oil supply is going to be disrupted. Oil prices have already spiked this morning. It's only going to get worse from there on. And then there's the possibility that, everyone retreats. This meeting does go ahead in Oman on Sunday between America and Iran. And then Trump claims that he stopped the conflict from getting worse. I don't know. You know how he likes to claim he saved the fucking world. Netanyahu calls it a win. Meanwhile, Iran might just say, yeah, okay, sure, whatever. And then continue to enrich uranium secretly in these underground bunkers and pulls out of nuclear talks entirely. And we get a new arms race, which would not be great for the world. I hate the fact that we're spending money on weapons all over the world. We're ramping up our military defenses against these gobshites like Netanyahu and Putin and Trump, who are rattling their sabers, and we're having to spend money on weapons when we should be spending money on each other, on the NHS, on education, on infrastructure, on the Green New Deal, Green Revolution, wind turbines, so we don't have to be completely reliant on oil that we drill out of our own waters, the local waters of Great Britain, this island that we live on. We're taking it out of our national waters, and yet we're paying premium for it. We don't get a discount. Graham saying happy birthday to Chris C and Kate Smith. Go on, make their day better. I can't sing for shit, but happy birthday. Happy birthday to you, Chris C. Happy birthday to Kate Smith. All the very, very best. Sorry, Alistair. Honestly, if I start singing, I'm going to lose so many viewers. We're a quite tight we're quite a tight-knit community on here anyway, at the best of times. But yeah, hip hip hooray, hip hip hooray. So yes, there's no good guys in this. There's no good guys. There's no one whose side that I'm on. I'm not on either side. Like, Iran is an authoritarian theocracy, a brutal suppressor of dissent, supports proxy wars across the region. However, Iran is a beautiful country filled with beautiful people who have all the ones I met were fucking awesome. I had the best time of my journey around the world, the most surprising time, the most heartwarming time, the most life-affirming, humanity-affirming, faith in humanity-affirming time when I was in Iran. Israel, it's a beautiful country. The people there are really lovely, or at least the ones that I met were really lovely, Palestinian and Israeli alike. Unfortunately, the governments of both those countries are absolute shits. Israel's led by a far-right government with a track record of disproportionate force. And the US is a it's a superpower claiming, neutrality, but it's arming both sides. It always has. The US and the UK armed both sides of the Iran-Iraq conflict in the 1980s. We armed both sides. We sold weapons to both sides. And ordinary people are left running, hiding, and dying, as always. These giants lumber around the playgrounds, don't care where they step, don't care who they step on, don't care whose dreams they crush, or people they crush. And, this whether it's Netanyahu or Khomeini or Donald Trump, these men all think they're shaping history. And the reality is that they are creating more and more problems for the world that they're going to leave for the rest of us to sort out. That's what they're going to do, as always. I got this quote, which I love, from The Great Gatsby, and I'm gonna get it from Goodreads because I actually do want to quote it and not just paraphrase it. They were careless people, Tom and Daisy. They smashed up things and creatures, and then retreated back into their money or their vast carelessness or whatever it was that kept them together, and let other people clean up the mess that they had made. I couldn't put it better. Refuck the Brexiters, Trump, Orban, Netanyahu, these gobsh, Putin, these very, very rich, well-connected, snobbish gobshites who seem to make it their life's mission to make other people's lives sadder. That's joyous. Like they are vampires of joy. They want to take that away from people. They just want everyone angry all the time. Everyone spitting feathers, screaming at each other, screaming at their neighbours, at their family members who read the fucking mail, voted for Brexit, voted for Trump in America. That's all they want. They just want conflict, a perpetual conflict. Why do they want perpetual conflict? Because it's great for the arms industry. The arms industry shat a brick in the early 2000s because it was like, oh, fuck, all things are settling down, There's going to be no more wars. How can we sell all these weapons for murdering people if there's not civil unrest, if there's no wars, if there's no... And along came the Saudis. The arms industry were very, very grateful for the 9/11 attack by the forces from Saudi Arabia on the soil of America, which resulted in the deaths of 3,000 Americans, civilians, innocent civilians who hadn't done anything wrong. And then the military-industrial complex were like, oh, thanks, cheers, done us a solid there, Saudi Arabia. In return, we won't blame you. We won't invade you. We'll invade Afghanistan and Iraq instead. Ha! That is the last thing they'll see coming. Alistair, thank you very much for the super chat, my friend. Seeing the chat say happy birthday is a brilliant to see in this community. Bravo all. Yes. Happy birthday, Chrissy and Kate Smith. Supertansky's birthday is this weekend, I think, as well. And she said in our chat, she said all the best people are born in June. To which I, being a gobshite, I did have to sort of go, Donald Trump's birthday is in June. He's having this military parade to celebrate his birthday. Jesus wept. Okay. Paula says the majority of uranium is U-235. The rest is the heavier U-38. In order to make a bomb, you need a higher concentration of U-238. Centrifuges mass the U-238 at the end. Okay, I get you. All right. So basically, your isotope of uranium needs to be a little bit of a more unstable isotope to cause the chain reaction that allows nuclear fission to take place. I'll get it. And I'm guessing that when you are just using uranium for domestic purposes, for energy creation, you don't need it to be enriched to that degree, Paula. Is that right? So can you use 235 for generating energy, but when you need all that energy all at the same time, that massive chain reaction of a nuclear bomb, that's got to be 238, which is a lot more difficult to make. I know in what's it called? Oppenheimer, one of the surprising thing is I kind of assumed, this is just me not knowing my history, but I kind of assumed that when they dropped the bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, I kind of just thought, well, they had others, didn't they? But no, that was all the bombs they had, and it had taken them years to make those two bombs. Actually, there was a third bomb, which was the test bomb, the Trinity test. But they had enough material to make 3 bombs, and that was it. So if Japan hadn't surrendered, they would have just gone, okay, well, we're going to have to invade then, because we haven't got any nuclear bombs. It's taken them a while to enrich the uranium for one of them, and the other one was plutonium-based. I think there was one that was uranium-based and one that was plutonium-based. I could be wrong. I'm not an expert on nuclear fusion or fission. I wonder if insurance companies shit themselves on Friday the 13th, says Trip. Well, come on, we're all banking on these insurance companies to stop the God, I'm so tired. to stop nuclear to stop climate change. Bloody hell. Wake up, Graham. I just took a big swig of coffee. I think I'll take some more. I hate it when you've got like a concept in your head of what you need to say and your brain just won't give you the words. It's why, like, I usually find this quite easy to do, but when I'm a bit under the weather and I'm not feeling great and tired, it's just, it's hard, and just knowing that everyone's watching at the same time and they're all going, go on, Graham, spit it out. Or what I do when I'm listening to the radio and the presenter either says the wrong word or stumbles over a word or can't quite remember what the name of that person is. And I'm shouting it at the radio. Graham, have a day off, man, says Nick and Dip. Tomorrow I'll have a day. Actually, I won't have a day off tomorrow because I've got loads of work to do in the garden. Graham's having a Biden moment. Yeah, but Biden has them all the time. Jesus Christ. It's painful to listen to Biden. Domestic use only needs 3% enriched. 60% is where weapons grade start. Iran's stock that international monitoring is seen as having 30% with no explanation as to why. Because they're trying to make bombs, that's why. Gillian says, my mum and one grandson in June, my son-in-law and sister in July. Expensive times. Correct. Basically, a nuclear reactor is a heat generator, and uranium-235 will do that. So you can use the heat to turn water into steam and turn turbines. Graham, you're doing a sterling job, but every day but you're human. Have a break. Yeah. There's a lot going on though, and no one else is going to do the show. I mean, Catherine started off the show once. She just started the show. She's like, Graham's not ready. So I'm gonna talk to you for the first 10 minutes. That was great. Great days. Okay, I'll pop over to the papers now. And obviously they're concentrating on this horrific crash in Gujarat in India, the news of which came across while we were streaming yesterday. More than 240 people have been killed in this disaster, and there is one survivor who, you can see him here on the front cover of the Mirror, literally walked away. Seat 11A, he walked away. Veg Pies dropped in £2 towards the coffee fund. Thank you so much, Veg Pie. It's my own fault. Like, honestly, this is a self-inflicted doulaliness. So this self-inflicted dithering. Because if I hadn't stayed up so late last night, then it probably wouldn't have happened. But then, if you can't sleep, you can't sleep. George Clooney did a stage play based on the true story of the journalist and McCarthy called Good Night and Good Luck, I think it's called. It's out on Blu-ray for anyone who likes plays. Yeah, he did a film. There's a film called Good Night and Good Luck. That it was based on a stage play, I think. But yeah, it is out there. Please check it out. Are you not hot in that top? Well warm down here in the south? No. It's fucking freezing up here. I can't stress how cold it is in Durham. It's June. Everyone else is sweltering. I've got a hoodie on. Like, it's just always so fucking cold. Maybe at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, if we have some intense sun, as intense as the sun ever gets in this place, we might have a little bit of. I might feel compelled to take my hoodie off, but until then, Martin says Kat was ace. Yeah, she was great. She was fantastic. And do you know what as well? Like, I mean, it was good for her confidence. I mean, she presents for work quite a lot, but I think that stuff like this is really quite good for this kind of interaction where you're writing messages and I'm reading them. For someone who's got hearing problems, that kind of interaction is quite a useful way of having a conversation with people, because you're not trying to work out what they're saying all the time. Hello, talking to Kat. Here she is. What are you up to? Are you off house? Okay, all right. See you later. Bye. So, oh well, she's gone. It's just me on my own now. I realised you didn't see her because she was off the camera. High pitch music. Been researching voice training, thinking about hair regrowth, and watching a conference, says Vendetta. The uranium for the third bomb was called the Demon Core. Folks died in stupid radiation accidents. That's right, Mach 7 radio intercepts. So the Demon Core was this enriched uranium in a sphere, was it? And it had like a thing on it, like some kind of shield that was on top of it. And one of the professors, one of the researchers or whatever that was working on it, used to call it like tickling the dragon's tail or something. And he got a screwdriver and he'd open it up with a screwdriver or something. He died. He fucking died because he exposed the Demon Core. And this isn't the best example, but like, if you can just imagine millions, billions of tiny little bullets going through your body, that's what intense radiation does. It just perforates your body with loads and loads and loads of billions of tiny bullets. So, uncovering the Demon Core, getting rid. I was watching or I read something about this numerous idiots who decided to do daft things with this Demon Core, which eventually ended in the deaths of a number of people, and eventually they just went, oh fuck it, we can't do this anymore. SG, my sister was cabin crew with AI for Air India for 35 years, retired 2 years ago. She'd flown with the captain and two of the cabin crew. Oh, fucking hell, SG. I'm sorry to hear that, mate. Oh, God, that's really horrible. The Mirror here reporting at least 290 people die in crash horror, because it wasn't just that it crashed into, it was a plane crash. It also crashed into a residential area in Ahmedabad. The only survivor of a plane crash was killed nearly 300 people in India. Oh, man. We'll move on. I don't know why we've got Nadine Dorries in a fucking bikini. Don't need to see that. I don't know how I'm alive, said the survivor. The miracle of seat 11A. Who walked away. There you go. Most of us aren't action heroes. I'm not The Rock, says Julianne Moore. As perfect as pop might get. A view on the genius that was Brian Wilson of the Beach Boys. The wreckage of India plane after it crashed in a residential area near the airport. And this is Vishwash Kumar Ramesh, who's a British citizen, said to be the only surviving passenger. There he is in bed. British man walks away from crash, kills hundreds. Brit is only survivor of Flight 171. It's all a bit bloody unbreakable, isn't it? More than 250 die as Air India flight crashes in Gujarat. Poundland falls short of its name as troubled asset. Investor grabs it for 85p. Oh my God, it wasn't even sold for £1. Russia's fake McDonald's resists return of the real thing. The prospect of the return to Russia of Western companies has stirred alarm among tycoons who have made a mint to taking over their operations. Yeah. Oh, it's the police. Woo woo. There's the sound of the police. So all the newspapers are covering the same story this morning. And I think that I might be right in saying, and I'm just going to check. I think that there's no pictures of anyone from the royal family on the front cover of any of the newspapers, which is remarkable in so many ways. Well, there you go. Wasn't expecting that. LMAO and cry all you want are signs of a troll. Yeah, don't be a troll. She engages in misandry. Who's this? Misandry. What even is that? What's misandry? Misandry is that like misogyny? Is that like hatred of women? So it's what, hatred of men? Is it misandry? Oh man, they have it so tough, don't they? You know, it's not as though all of life is designed around the needs and physique of a 5'10" man, white man at that. Yeah. Is that what it is? I don't know. I can't be asked looking it up. The Dam Buster Squadron was on standby to drop nuclear bombs if the B-29s couldn't be modified in time. Fucking hell. Wow. Didn't know that. Nick and Div says, I'm still a bit gobsmacked by that guy walking away from the flight. I was calling BS yesterday, but it seems by all accounts to be true. A miracle. Did he jump out the emergency door? He was next to the emergency door, which is where I always sit on a plane. I always sit next to the emergency door on a plane. I'm a bit like superstitious about it. But if I can get the emergency door, I will sit next to the emergency door. And also, if I can't sit next to the emergency door, I count how many rows there are to the emergency door. It's very important that you know that, because in a plane crash situation, it might be in the middle of the night, might be in the middle of the ocean, there might not be any lights. You need to just be able to feel your way out. But he was right next to the door, and there was a huge fireball that we saw from the footage from the plane crashing. But the reality is that in most plane crash situations, people survive the crash. They just don't get out in time. So the amount of time that you have between the plane hitting the ground and stopping and then the plane becoming engulfed in flames can be minutes, or in this case, it can be seconds. And in this case, it was seconds. This guy he got out. He must have just fucking opened that door and got the fuck out of there. I can imagine. Wow. Tickets for David Byrne from Talking Heads are on sale at 10 a.m. Ooh, okay. Well, if you want to go and get tickets for David Byrne, that's up to you. I saw him performing on stage with Olivia Rodrigo, which was quite exciting because Olivia Rodrigo is playing at Glastonbury this year in a couple of weeks' time. So I'm hoping he's going to come on stage with her. It seems like something that might happen. Dear, oh dear, can we please learn to debate properly? Well, no, this isn't it. This is not a debate. Jimmy, sorry. If you want to debate, because there's loads of other channels to go and have a debate, we're here to just talk about what's going on in the news and what's happening to our countries. And yeah, we're not here to win an argument. I'm not going to win any one round. I'll never win any one round to my way of thinking. It's impossible. It's like telling someone that their kid is ugly or their tattoo looks shit or that their missus is a nutter. It's never going to work. You can tell them, but you're not going to be thanked for it, and they're never going to listen. So, Dark 4x4, thanks very much for being a member for 5 months. Recommend Trinity and Beyond narrator Captain Kirk. Oh, well, I recommend Captain Kirk's cover of Rocket Man by Elton John. It's fucking brilliant. It's genius. Absolute genius. Because I'm a rock it man. The Czech Republic with trans rights to privacy. Yeah, it's not the Czech Republic anymore, though, is it? It's Czechia. It is a miracle. But miracles happen every day. Like coincidences happen every day. I don't aspire. I don't put any kind of supernatural spin on this. It's just some things, some people, sometimes survive plane crashes. It's like when they found the passports of the people who boarded the planes in 9/11. They found passports, because not everything in a plane crash is destroyed. It just some stuff always survives. If you burn down a house, you come back the next day, you will find stuff that didn't burn for some reason. Maybe it was under something. There wasn't enough oxygen for it to combust. Maybe it just didn't reach the critical temperature that it needed to combust. Maybe it wasn't made of combustible material. There's all kinds of reasons why things don't always burn up. And if you are not a firefighter or a forensic fire fucking examiner, then I think you should, step away a little bit from going, this couldn't possibly happen, because the argument from incredulity is one of the weakest arguments out there and is very much a logical fallacy. It's like, no, this couldn't possibly happen. Well, do you know what? Pretty much everything that could happen fucking happens every day. We just don't notice. All set for Sunday, says Gareth. £2. I hope that's Gareth saying that Gareth is all set for Sunday, because I'm still not completely with it. Gareth, so text me again. Let me know what time we're doing it. So we're going to be doing an episode of How We Fix Britain. Me and Gareth T are going to be discussing prisons and prison overcrowding and prison reform and what needs to be done. So please look out for that on Sunday evening. I've got to check out what time Tan is doing her live stream so we don't cross the streams. See what I did there? Do you see what I did? Still got it. Even when I'm tired. But yeah, so Sunday we should be doing that. Daily Mail had a headline saying nothing was working on that flight because someone previously didn't have the in-flight entertainment screen working. I forgot they were flight critical. Yeah, I mean, this is another thing. It's like people going, "Oh, well, it was definitely this, or it was definitely that caused it." I mean, we don't know. I don't even think they found the black boxes yet. But it just seemed that from the footage that came out, it just seemed they struggled to gain altitude for whatever reason. Maybe the flaps were. Is it the flaps that give you the dynamic of the aerofoil that allows you to take the? I don't know how it works, but maybe if there'd been some kind of like mechanical failure, so that the flaps were at the wrong angle and they were actually pushing the aircraft down instead of lifting it up. Maybe I don't know, but not good news for Boeing, who have just had a plague of bad news in recent years. I mean, 2018, 2019, they had the crashes in Ethiopia and Indonesia on their Max, the 747 Max, is it called? Which the computer just crashed the bloody planes, and Boeing had this great history of passenger safety on their planes for a very, very long time. But then it got taken over by a corporation that just wanted to make shitloads of money. It had a merger with another company, and they put safety last and profits first, which unfortunately is the way that a lot of these companies go. And then it blows up in their face, literally, when their planes start crashing and people go, I don't want to fly on Boeing. And fleets around the world don't want to be a Boeing flight. Unfortunately, there's only two choices, isn't there? There's Airbus or Boeing. That's it. Pays your money, it takes your chances. Because we've got a duopoly. Airbus and Boeing, they're the only companies that seem to make planes, the big ones anyway. I believe that the black boxes have been located, at least one. I don't know the state of it, based on some Indian news. Peter says loss of hydraulic control could cause the wheels not to be retracted, and for the flaps to not be deployed properly. An explosion could have ripped the hydraulic lines apart. Yeah, that's something that looks like. I mean, there was somebody said there was a bang. I think the guy who survived, he said there was a bang before they went down, so it could have been an explosion. Also seen someone blaming it on Boeing DEI. Jesus Christ. Folks are saying that the 787 Ram air turbine was deployed and engines not running. Boeing were fine until they moved the headquarters after the merger with McDonnell Douglas. That was the merger I referred to. Thanks, Christopher. Seattle to Chicago, worst decision, apparently. Veg Pie, I've had a lifetime of gigs since I was 14 in 1972. Getting a bit sick of the loud noise and the clapping every few minutes, quite honestly. Take some little earbuds, earplugs. The ones you get a little pack and you get the little earbuds. I honestly, these are always in my pocket now because I find myself more affected than about. I'm pissed off. Like, it makes me anxious. It obviously has a detrimental, negative effect on me, like noise, like ridiculous noise. I mean, I expect it at a gig, but like, I hate going to the cinema when it's in the iSense because we've got like quite a posh cinema here in Durham. We've got one of these Odeon Luxes that you got to pay like £18 a fucking ticket for or something mad. And when on the few subtitle screenings that they have, if it's in the iSense cinema, I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake. Because it's so loud. It's like it shakes you. And I don't like that feeling. I know some people do. They're into their house music. They're into their, electronic dance music. And they love having their insides vibrated at a certain frequency. It does nothing for me. It doesn't get me off. It just makes me feel nauseous. And it's one of the reasons why I don't really like really loud, bassy sounds. And even with your earphone, even in your earplugs in, there's nothing you can do about it. It's fine. I'm not going to say that we shouldn't have raves and we shouldn't have electronic dance music. Although I can't see anyone making any money out of electronic dance music ever again because of AI. It sounds like it's always sounded like it's made by a computer. So now it being made by a computer. Whereas going to see a band live is an experience that AI will never, ever be able to replicate. I know people paid to go and see a hologram of Michael Jackson or something, but realistically, it's not something that's, I don't think that's very sustainable. If your music sounds like it was made by a computer, it can be made by a computer. I don't think a computer is going to be able to make something that sounds as good as Pet sounds. But I might be wrong. Wasn't the South Korean crash in Jan a Boeing 2 double bird strike? Airplane engines can cope with one bird strike, but perhaps not on takeoff. Yeah, that could be the case as well. Could have been bird strike. Could be bird strike or debris on the runway being sucked into the engine. Could be. I mean, we just don't know at the moment. It doesn't look like it was terrorism. It doesn't look like anyone's wanted to make a statement or whatever. But it is absolutely awful. And another thing I'll mention as well. I think it's really shit that these planes fly over densely populated areas. I felt like this, like visiting friends in Hounslow in London, where just planes every 3 minutes, plane going overhead, plane overhead. It's insane, and that planes are so low, close to the ground. So many people around, And to me, the safest airports around the world are the ones that slightly freak me out. The very first flight I ever took, I was 14 years old, and I went to Denmark to go and stay with my auntie and uncle in Denmark, in Copenhagen. And I'd never been on a flight before, and I was on my own, right? So I was dropped off at the airport by my mum, walked through security, and then I was put on the plane and was picked up at the other side. You could do that back in the 90s. I don't think you could do that now. Anyway, so I got on the plane, and I love it. You know, we take off. It's really exciting. And then it starts coming down, coming into Copenhagen. I had no idea that Copenhagen airport is right on the water. So we're like going down, and all I can see, because you can't see forwards, can you? You can only see out the side. I'm looking out the window, and the sea is getting closer and closer to us. And I'm like, oh my God, why are we so close to the water? And then finally we landed, and I was like, bloody hell. But actually, having an airport that is close to the sea means that if there is a problem on takeoff or on landing, the plane will hopefully land on the water, which, if it's not too choppy, can be a measured crash landing, and the people on board can survive that. But more importantly, I guess, is that if a plane is going to come down, if it comes down over the sea into the water, it's not destroying people's houses. There's no people, there's no pedestrians, there's no people in their apartments or in their college who are sitting there, and then suddenly along comes a fucking plane through the wall. So yeah, the design of airports, designing them in places where if there is a problem with the plane, that becomes a big problem for a major metropolis, to me is just madness. It's absolute madness. I don't think that any flights coming from Europe should necessarily go to Heathrow. I think they should. Well, it's too late now, really. But everyone sort of made fun of Boris Johnson when he said he was going to build Boris Island or something. But in terms of safety, that would be a better way of building an airport right on the coast, so you can come up the Thames estuary, and if there's any problems, ditch in the water. Look at the miracle on the Hudson, when that flight crashed in 2010, was it? I can't remember. But when the miracle on the Hudson happened, that was a plane crash caused by a bird strike, and they landed on the water, and everyone survived. Literally everyone on that plane survived. They didn't crash into a fucking building. Gillian, thanks for a great week of keeping us informed and educated. Oh, thanks, Gillian. I don't think I'm particularly on 100% at the moment, so that really means a lot to me. Thank you so much. And look, I'll be back at 1:00 today with Phil, and we'll be going through the spending review from Rachel Reeves. We'll be going through that line by line, measure by measure, saying whether it's a good thing or a bad thing. I watched some clips from Question Time last night, and God, it was depressing. I was thinking of reviving Quagglebox, but it doesn't half piss me off that you've got like people like Zia Youssef just talking absolute drivel, lying to people live on national TV, and no one was taken into task about it. Darren Jones is usually quite good. He should have jumped on Zia Youssef blaming net zero for everything, and he just didn't. So what I'm thinking, okay, I was going to do this yesterday, but like I say, I'm a bit under the weather, and I wasn't really in a position to do it. But I'm going to start a show called Reform Watch UK. And it's going to be like Crime Watch UK. But I'm going to be going through the shit that Refuck have done in the week. All the stupid shite they've done. The shite they're doing in local councils. The local councillors who are having to resign or step down. There's rumours that Darren Grimes here in Durham is going to be suspended for not going to his DEI class. It's not a DEI class, but whatever. For not doing his councillor training, because he thinks he doesn't need to. So I'm thinking that'll be a really good little thing to do. What I want to know from you, if you just let me know in the chat, do you think that I should do it live? Do you think it'd be better as a two-way conversation where I do kind of like what Max does on his live shows, where he actually shows you the footage of something fucking stupid that one of these knobheads from Refuck has said, and then we talk about it? Or would you rather it was a scripted, delivered, pre-record where I just say to the camera, here's the L's for the week, here's the fails, here's the Refuck fails for the week, and just go through it. So let me know what you'll prefer in the chat. It was all awful, but there was a change in attitude. Labour read the room. It was pretty bad. I'm really looking forward to the agenda today. Want to see Phil's take on the spending review, says Chris C. Me too. I access separate entrance, I bought a parking space, and then my favourite band. Next time, let me know and I can meet up together. Who are we talking about here? What band? If it wasn't for my anxiety. I'm sorry, Elle. I'm really sorry that your anxiety holds you back from doing this stuff. I hope you're getting support on it. I know people who suffer from anxiety. Some very, very close people to me have this issue, and it's so unfair. It's so unfair that some of the most lovely, amazing people who deserve to be able to go and have fun with everybody else can't. And as with any kind of mental health problem issue, it's something that I feel that really needs to be helped by the powers that be. But I still don't feel like the NHS, and this isn't a diss for the NHS, it's not their fault, they haven't had the funding, but I don't think the NHS is in the position it should be in to help people with their mental health problems. And the thing is, what kind of drives me up the wall on this, it's just time for a lot of people. It's just time, therapy, being able to talk about this stuff, being able to learn ways of managing everyday life. Something I've had to learn with my ADHD, to find a system that works for you and to stop punishing yourself because everyone else seems to find it so fucking easy to do X, Y, Z, and you don't, and you feel like you feel like a lesser person because why can't I do this? Why can't I? Everyone else is like, oh, it's not hard. Fucking hate it when people say that. They do something, they go, oh, it's not hard. Yeah, you don't know. You don't know. Certain things are hard for other people. Just because you find them easy doesn't mean everyone else will. It's one of those things, isn't it, where I think it's like everyday expressions that piss me off. Maybe we could do a whole video about this, but it's not hard. Ideas above their station fucking pisses me off. People being told to stay in their lane. Stay in your lane. Fuck off. Fuck off. I'll drive in any fucking lane I want. Thank you very much. I mean, not when I'm driving. Obviously, I'll stay in the inside lane because I'm not a twat. I'm not a middle lane hogger. But yeah, I mean, just in life, this idea that you're born to a certain caste and that defines your life and you need to stay in that lane and you need to not have ideas above your station in life disgusts me. I hate that idea. I'm all for social mobility. I'm up for it, all gigged out this year unless something good crops up. I'm getting really excited about Glastonbury. I wasn't that excited about it because I didn't have a ticket. I wasn't going. I thought, well, it's Charlie XCX and Olivia Rodrigo, and I'm not that arsed, to be honest with you. But now I'm psyched for it because Wolf Alice are playing, Kate Nash is playing, Pulp are probably playing. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Say no more, say no more. I'm going to get to see Ash. I'm going to get to see Terrorvision. I'm going to get to see loads of bands that I loved from the past. But also I'm going to get to see some really cool, young, upcoming bands and artists that I'm quite excited to go and see live for the first time. So yeah, and I'm going to have a funny flag. The training has not been provided to allow the NHS to scale up mental health services. Yeah, absolutely, Christopher. That's why I said it's no diss on the NHS. It's not their fault necessarily. I did it. Why can't you? Mikey got his soundboard back. Love. Tuzzler. It's 9 Inch Nails, and I'm at Bloodstock in August. Oh, love 9 Inch Nails. The Downward Spiral was one of my fave albums growing up, and I still listen to it. And when you just associate a particular time in your life with a particular album, and And for some reason, right. So when I used to play Quake, I know the music for Quake wasn't that done by Trent Reznor. I've got a feeling the music for Quake was done by Trent Reznor. But I used to play Quake. I'd turn the real music for Quake off and just have the sound effects on. And I'll play the Downward Spiral as I was playing Quake. And it was perfect. It was absolutely perfect. Absolutely fantastic band. And also, you've seen the film Soul? You know the film Soul? About the Pixar movie? About the musician? The piano player? Is he a piano player? He's a musician and he dies and comes back from heaven. And you've seen that movie, yeah? The music for that, Trent Reznor. Trent fucking Reznor. You know all the jazz, the blues, and the soul? Trent Reznor of Nine Inch Nails. It's like the guy who did Mad Max, George Miller, also did Happy Feet and Babe. Which I love. I love it when people don't stay in their lane. They go, no, I'll give this a go. I'll give that a go. I'll give the other thing a go. It's one of the reasons why I love directors like Sidney Lumet and Billy Wilder and others who really did like loads of different types of films and just went for it. Did a really good job. Pretty Hate Machine, love that album. Proper soul searching after a breakup. Pretty Hate Machine's fucking fantastic album. And then when people are visibly struggling with mental health, you get the idiots who say "man up," says Chris C. Oh mate, I mean that is. To me, cheer up, love, might never happen. I'm like, oh, Jesus, that's the last thing we need. But, and this is a big but, I'm not going to lie, things have improved since when I was a kid. Look, when I was a kid, I didn't have ADHD. Apparently, I was just hyperactive. It wasn't a disorder, I was just hyperactive. I was told, my parents were told not to give me any sugary sweets because that was making me hyperactive. When I was a kid, adults couldn't have ADHD. When I was a kid, people weren't diagnosed with autism. They were just seen as weird or unhelpful or rude. People weren't diagnosed with dyslexia. They were just lazy and couldn't spell. People weren't diagnosed with a lot of stuff. Kids weren't diagnosed with it. They were just told they were naughty and they were no good and they'll never amount to anything. Things have got better, but we're still finding our way in the dark because the fucking military industrial complex needed its fucking yachts for its owners to make weapons for all these. Weapons are great, aren't they? Got a limited shelf life. You've got to use them. The ammunition. Well, the more wars there are, the more ammunition gets used. It's bringing all these parts from all over the world, and you can sell them for an absolute fucking premium. And if you're making weapons in this country and the person that you're selling the weapons to or the country you're selling the weapons to reneges on the payment, you still get paid. The taxpayer steps in to pay for that fucking shortfall. Yep, it was the only industry that Maggie Thatcher protected was the arms industry. Protected by law. They'll get their money no matter what. So if Indonesia orders a bunch of landmines from us in the 90s and then uses those landmines to maim and murder people from East Timor, and then they just go, oh well, actually, we're not going to pay for these landmines. We paid for them. The British taxpayer paid for the landmines in that case. I'm giving that as an example. I don't know if that was a real thing that actually happened, but in a case like that, that's what would happen. The British taxpayer would pay for landmines to be planted all over the eastern side of the island of Timor. What am I going pagan? I actually tried. What? John says Clint Marshall was formerly of Pop Will Eat Itself. Ich bin ein Ausländer. The dance crusties of the mid-90s. Now does film scores, including the track that was every trailer, Lux Eterna. Yeah, that's the way you make money, isn't it? He did the Quake theme and has done loads of soundtrack with Atticus Ross as well. I think he did 7 as well. Yeah, he did do the Quake theme. I know, but it was like when I was playing the actual game. It was the album you had to listen to when you were playing Quake. And then there's and weirdly, I know you're gonna think this is weird, right? But I'll always associate Suede's second album, Dogman Star, with Doom. Because I used to play that while I was playing Doom for some reason. I don't know why. But yeah, I've got it in my head that whenever I hear the song, the New Generation, which was one of the singles of the second album, and whenever I hear that song, that thumping drum beat, it always reminds me of when you had the level where you had to fight the cyber demon at the end of the second part of Doom. The cyber demon was the big bad at the end of the second part, whereas it was the spider mastermind, wasn't it? And with his little Kerrang motherfucker in his spider fucking costume at the very end, who was arguably easier to kill than the cyber demon. Just saying. Phonebox Chicken says, I went to a special boarding school as I probably have autism. I was a minority as I never got in trouble with the police. Yeah. To those of us who aren't confident inside are sensible enough to know that life is complicated and we don't have all the answers. And beautifully put. Beautifully put. And that's another thing that gets up, you know, when a politician or whoever claims they have all the answers or thinks they'll be dead good at everything when they're not. So when I say, like, I don't like it when people say stay in your lane or you know, you got ideas above your station, right? Because we often, that's always about class. That's always about your position in life that you were born into and this idea that you got to stay there for the rest of your life. But I also very much believe in the words above the cave in Delphi and the oracle's cave in ancient Greece that said, know thyself. Know what you're good at. Know what you're bad at. Know what you need to do. Stop trying to be somebody else and trying to be something and someone that you're not. And it's something that we do all the time, and we've got to stop doing it. We've got to stop looking at how other people live their lives and brag about it on Instagram or in the media, and then think that we can do the same, because we often can't. And it's no diss on us. It's not that we're incapable of amazing stuff. It's just we're not capable of that particular stuff. But everyone, each to their own, I guess, is the expression that people use. But it really is like, find out what you're good at and just do that. Find out what you enjoy, suss it out, and do that, and do it as long as you're not hurting anyone. You know, have fun doing it. You know, do it with glee. If you like gardening, garden. If you like walking, if you like cycling, if you like driving your car, you know, fine. As long as you don't make too much noise, thank you. Don't make all the noise. I just don't like the noise. Steve says, my mobility issues make going to gigs difficult. The last one I got to was Katie C. Pearson, who I got a selfie and a chat with. She was lovely. Oh, that's really nice. Sean says, you're amongst friends. This is a safe space as long as you're civil. Yes, look, like I say, we're not here for a debate. We're not here for a fight over XYZ. I'm just telling you what is happening in the news, how I feel about it, and I want to know how you feel about it. That's it. We're not trying to convince anyone of anything on this channel. If you want that, if you want political debate, it's a different channel. This is Politics Social. We talk about politics, but it's like being down the pub with your mates. That's the idea. Please don't try to please people. Be yourself and ignore what others think, says Martin. Yeah, as long as you're not hurting anyone, as long as you're not upsetting anyone, you know. I mean, because you get some racists going, "Oh, you hate people from other countries, and I don't care what other people think," and they're like, "Oh, you possibly should in that respect." Alice Dem, thank you so much for the £10 super chat. It's really kind. Exactly that. What happened to me when I was in school? I was told I was stupid, wouldn't get good grades, and got the bells. The bell, fucking hell. I'm sorry to hear that, Alistair, for being disruptive. I was dyslexic, ADHD only after I left school, and I was in my 40s. Yeah, Alistair, I'm so sorry you had to go through that. Well, you didn't have to go through that. I'm so sorry that you did go through that because of horrible old men who ran the place, and they just thought that their way was the only way, and there isn't. You know, there are many ways. There are many, many paths that you can take to get anywhere. Take it as a metaphor, also take it as a physical thing. Like, if you want to visit anywhere in the world, there's multiple paths for going to that place. In the same way, if you want to get anywhere in life, there are multiple paths to get there. If you want to live your life a particular way, you know, great, go for it. You know, go with God. Just don't feel like just because other people are excelling at one particular thing that it means that it's easy or it's a given or there's some kind of basic human right to have that thing or be able to achieve that. You might not be able to. And if you spend the rest of your life beating yourself up because you're like, oh, I should be able to do this, but I can't. And this is talking from experience. This is something I've done as well. You won't be happy. I think true contentment is finding out what makes you happy and pursuing that. Unfortunately, there's far too many people out there who what makes them happy is being horrible to others. So I'll just put that little asterisk there. As long as it doesn't mean being horrible to others, because you got a lot of people who think that money's going to make them happy, and they make loads of money, and then they're still not happy, and so that's when they start terrorizing others. They start demonizing minorities. They start making other people's lives less pleasant for no reason other than they're bored and they don't know what to do with their stupid lives. Don't be a people pleaser, but don't be walked over either. It can sometimes be difficult, balance to achieve. Don't mug yourself if you fail sometimes. Yeah. This channel is just bloody great. Host is super. Mods, top chatters are fabulous. Oh, thanks, Scott. That's really nice. Jimmy says, sad for the families of those who died. May they rest in peace. Yeah. Phone Box Chicken says, I feel sorry for kids these days who see all those influencers, dodgy misogynists and flashy show-offs, etc. They get told they're inadequate because X, Y, and Z. Yeah. Which is just it is just the new form of bullying. It's the new form of sort of social coercion, should we call it? In the same way that being bullied in school, being whipped in school, being caned in school was a way of achieving social coercion in the past. Now it's achieved through bullying through the internet of this is the way you should look, this is the way you should talk, this is the things you should talk about, these are the things you should believe, which is very, very problematic. It's an incredibly problematic world in which we're living at the moment, and I do feel like our politicians are dinosaurs and they don't understand the true nature of the threat we are facing to the financial stability and the mental health of an entire generation of people. So yeah, I'm just checking on the latest. Said hunt for black box continues as grieving India crash. Families wait for answers. Yeah, it's an awful story. That so yeah, Israel's major attack is still dominating the headlines as you would expect. And Shakira saying, my kids are the reason I'm alive. Oh, that's nice. And there's a British rapper who faces 2 new sexual assault charges. Yeah, and then what does the crash mean for Boeing? And then people talking about Trump's military parade over the weekend. Jesus Christ. Anyway, right. So it is 23 minutes past 10. I think I'm going to wrap it up there because you're going to see a lot of me today. Although I think I'm going to let Phil do most of the talking at 1 o'clock, if that's okay. But thank you. Thank you for watching. Thank you for sticking with the channel through thick and thin. Through Sleepy Graham. Sleepy Joe Graham. And saying we did have a teacher at kindergarten who slapped us, although she wasn't supposed to. I was good in those days and did not deserve it. No kid deserved it, Anne. No kid deserved to be assaulted by an adult. Al says people are horrible to make themselves appear important. As with bullies, it's a front, fearful and insecure. Survival is a strength. These people only make me stronger. That's a really good attitude to have, Al. Martin says, just Googled it on my phone. I'll have to wait until the stream is finished to check out. Sorry. I'll wrap up the stream so you can do whatever you're doing. Ilgara says, angry Graham this morning. Am I angry? Am I coming across? I think I'm sleepy more than angry. Wow. if you think this is me angry, you really need to see me angry at some point. I'm an ex-Muslim atheist from India facing serious threats. My life is in danger. I have no support or money. Please, can anyone help or guide me towards asylum or safety? I'm begging. I can't read your name. I'm sorry, because I can't read Arabic. But yeah, if you are in this country at the moment, if you're already here, then there are people who will help. It just depends where you are. So yeah, Graham, go have a cat napping. It makes you feel better. I did that the other, on Wednesday. I did the morning show. Right, I didn't finish till 11. I think I wrapped it on a bit. I literally slept for 10 minutes. I was on the couch there. Slept for I had my countdown timer on my phone. Just slept for 10 minutes. Got up, and then I did the fucking PMQs and the spending review. Yeah, fun. So I finished at 11, didn't I? I finished at not 10. I did a 2-hour show. I finished at 11. Had like a 10-minute kip, and then I had to do the because I had to change it, because normally it says PMQs, doesn't it? And in the top corner here where it says Morning Brew, it normally says PMQs, but I changed it so it said PMQs and the spending review. Smash that like button, folks. What a really great idea. Thank you, Diz, for reminding me. Smash the like. Give us a like on the way out, and I'm gonna head off now. I'll be back at 1:00 with Phil for the agenda, and yes, we're going to be talking about Rachel Reeves's spending review and what it all means and where we're going on from here. Is this a return to the socialist values of Labour, or is it just a smoke and mirrors to try and get people on side? We will see. Right, is it too little, too late? We'll be talking about that. If you can't join us for that this afternoon because you've got better things to do, fair enough, won't argue. If you want to join us tonight at 9:30, it'll be me, Mike Dix, Mikey Famine, and others talking about the shit that's been going down this week. And fucking hell, there's been a lot of shit going down. So please join us for that. And if I'm feeling a little bit better, I might have a little bit of alcohol with that. But I haven't had any booze since I was in Brighton a couple of weeks ago. I'm getting old, mate. I'm getting old. Just can't take it anymore. So thanks for watching. Thanks for the super chats. Thanks for the chat in general and for being so civil and nice and pleasant and beautiful. And I'll just say until next time, thanks for watching. Hello, good evening, welcome, goodbye. Angry Graham.